In terms of political spending, I'm going to do a lot less in the future.
And why is that?
I think I've done enough.
Is it because of blowback?
Well, if I see a reason to do political spending in the future, I will do it. I do not currently see a reason.
You heard that right, my friends. Elon Musk is stepping back from politics, not because his car company is dying or because he's being excommunicated from Trump world. See, it's his choice to step back because he already accomplished his mission at Doge. But, you know, he can tell himself that, sure, but deep down, I think he knows that it's because Americans hate him. And as a result of said hatred, Republicans are distancing themselves from him, including Trump, who conspicuously stopped talking about Elon Musk, as you can see from this graph, courtesy of Politico, which is very interesting because he went from posting about how wonderful Elon Musk is multiple times per day to just not bringing him up at all, which is funny. And the reason why this is happening is because, as one GOP strategist put it, he's finished, done, gone. He polls terrible. People hate him. He'd go to Wisconsin thinking he can buy people's votes, wear the cheese hat, act like a 9-year-old. It doesn't work. It's offensive to people. And this disdain for Elon Musk isn't exclusive to Democrats, mind you, because Trump's own cabinet cannot stand this man. The Atlantic reports that Elon Musk got into another screaming match with a Trump official. This time it was Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent who reportedly screamed "fuck you" to Elon Musk multiple times while they were up in each other's faces. But Bessent isn't alone in his hatred of Musk, because The Atlantic continues, quote, "How many people were fired because they didn't send in their 3 things a week or whatever the fuck it was?" One Trump advisor requested anonymity to speak frankly told us. "I think that everyone is ready to move on from this part of the administration." And at one point they explain, sick of presiding over the competing complaints about Elon Musk, Trump finally declared, "Bring them all in here and we'll have at it." The next day, the cabinet secretaries did just that. Details of the meeting, including Musk's heated back and forth with Secretary of State Marco Rubio, as well as with Doug Collins, the Secretary of Veterans Affairs, and Sean Duffy, the Transportation Secretary, almost immediately leaked into news reports. Musk upbraided Rubio during the meeting for not sufficiently reducing his staff, and Rubio, already upset that Musk had essentially dissolved USAID, one of the agencies under his purview, vigorously fought back. That was one of the turning points for Trump and Marco, where Trump realized Marco had a little spine, one Trump ally told us. Several people told us that though Musk understood that he was walking into an ambush, he was unaware of the extent of the coming pile-on. Love that for him. So he was seemingly unaware of how hated he was among Trump's cabinet officials. Like, he got a sense that things weren't necessarily peachy keen, but he underestimated how much they reviled him. Because, I mean, this man's ego rivals that of Trump. So, of course, he wouldn't expect things to be that bad, but I'm glad that they confronted him. But to add insult to injury, Elon Musk started to question Donald Trump himself, specifically his tariffs. And in doing so, he broke the cardinal rule, which is to never question the king. See, Trump was on Elon Musk's side during the H-1B visa fight, but after months of hyping up his tariffs, Elon Musk should have known that Trump wasn't going to just back down so easily. I mean, he did do that, but, you know, Elon Musk didn't understand how glued Trump was to tariffs in general. And so even though he paused tariffs currently, they're temporary pauses. So he's not just going to unilaterally withdraw from this fight to get tariffs implemented, because that's what he wants to do. And even though other Trump administration officials probably didn't agree with the tariffs either, they're at least smart enough to know to shut the fuck up for purposes of self-preservation, whereas that was not the case with Elon Musk. So suffice to say, everyone forced to work closely with this man absolutely cannot stand him. And of course, Americans feel the same way. And CNN's data analyst Harry Anton put it into perspective, and these numbers are wild.
Elon Musk's net favorability rating. Look at this shift. Back in 2017, before he really started this politics thing, he was at plus 24 points. Look at where he is now. Whoa, he fell through the floor. Minus 19 points. Among Democrats, the fall was even more dramatic. We're talking about going from plus 35 points on net favorability rating. That is quite a popular guy among Democrats, to get this now down to minus 91 points. You can't really go lower than that. I guess you could go down to minus 100 points, but he became political kryptonite. He was greatly disliked by the American public and greatly, greatly, greatly disliked by Democrats. And obviously we saw that in Wisconsin when, of course, he spent all that money and then the liberal won that Supreme Court race.
Yes. How has that plummet of popularity impacted the brand? Tesla.
Yeah, exactly right. So this is Elon Musk individually. How about Tesla? Okay, let's take a look. The net favorability rating. Look, General Motors, we're going to compare General Motors and Tesla. General Motors, quite well liked by the American people, plus 23 points on net favorability rating. But look at Tesla, minus 20 points. So this idea that Tesla could somehow separate itself out from Elon Musk, the American people saw it the exact same way. And of course, Tesla is a business. They're in the business of selling cars. Awfully difficult to sell cars when you have a minus 20-point net favorability rating driven by Elon Musk's net favorability rating right around the same mark. And it's not a big surprise that Tesla sales had fallen in the past, at least in the first quarter, compared to where they were a year ago. It turns out that Elon Musk's political kryptonite was also becoming kryptonite for selling cars.
Yeah. And speaking of Tesla, he sat down for an interview with Bloomberg TV and was visibly butthurt when he was asked about the downfall of Tesla. He's obviously still in denial, but he doesn't have a very good poker face because it's obvious that this is a very touchy subject for him. He's also very sensitive about the judge who sided with Tesla's shareholders and shot down a $50 billion compensation package for him. So even though he's projecting confidence in this interview, it's obvious that it's nothing more than a facade, and you're going to know what I mean when I show you the clip. So without further ado, here it is.
If we start with Tesla, the company has suffered in recent months what you've called blowback. So what is your plan for turning that around, the declining sales picture, and by what stage do you think you're going to be able to turn it around?
Oh, it's already turned around.
You would acknowledge, wouldn't you, that what you are facing, okay, let's just take it as Europe, what you are facing is a significant problem. This Tesla was an incredibly aspirational brand. People identified with it. They saw it as being at the forefront of the climate crisis, and now people are driving around with stickers in their cars saying, I bought this before we knew Elon was crazy.
And there are also people who are buying it because Elon's crazy, or however they may view it. So yes, we've lost some sales perhaps on the left, but we've gained them on the right. The sales numbers at this point are strong, and we see no problem with demand.
So what do you...
And I mean, you can just look at the stock price. If you want the best inside information, the stock market analysts have that, and our stock wouldn't be trading near all-time highs if it was not. If things weren't in good shape. They're fine. Don't worry about it. Okay.
This is the judge who twice struck down the $56 billion pay package that was awarded to you. I think the value on the current value of stock options. Yeah.
Not a judge. The activist who is cosplaying a judge in a Halloween costume. Now let's move on.
Okay. Well, just one question.
Let's move on.
Well, one question before we move on to other companies, which is that I wonder if some of what has happened to Tesla in the last few months, did you take it personally?
Yes. And I'm not someone who's ever committed violence. And yet, massive violence was committed against my companies. Massive violence was threatened against me. Who are these people? Why would they do that? What's wrong with these people? I've not harmed anyone. Those people will go to prison, and the people that funded them and organized them will also go to prison. Don't worry.
But wouldn't you?
We're coming for you.
Wouldn't you acknowledge that some of the people who turned against Tesla in Europe were upset at your politics, and very few of them would have been violent in any way. They just objected to what they saw you say or do politically.
Now, he doesn't provide her with a very meaningful answer to that question, which is why I didn't play it for you. And in fact, that entire clip was like 2 minutes, 30 seconds. It would have been about 12 minutes, I kid you not, if I didn't cut out all of his meandering and superfluous bullshit. But as you can see, his petulance was on full display and his narcissism runs so goddamn deep. He is incapable of understanding why people do not like him. But Elon, if you're watching, I'm going to help you understand. First and foremost, you think you're funny, but you're not. Case in point.
Well, Mr. President, they say I wear a lot of hats. It's true. Even my hat has a hat.
Yeah, I rest my case. Second of all, your thirst for attention is embarrassing and downright cringeworthy. Third, you used your wealth to buy yourself a position in government and then used the power that you bought to corruptly enrich yourself while fucking over the most vulnerable people on the planet. You spread lies about Social Security. You pretend to be confident even though you're transparently insecure and desperate to be liked by everyone when you're not. You're a deadbeat dad. You're a transphobic piece of shit. You bought Twitter and ruined it, which is emblematic of how everything you touch turns to shit, and any successful venture that you've been part of is successful in spite of you, not because of you. You say you support free speech, yet you censor your critics on Twitter and threaten journalists with lawsuits for criticizing you. You spread white supremacist conspiracy theories, including the Great Replacement conspiracy theory, as well as white genocide in South Africa. You support Israel's genocide in Gaza, so you're not anti-genocide like you say you are. Oh, and you're a Nazi. And rather than owning it, you try to gaslight us and pretend like you're not a Nazi and we're all crazy for thinking that you are. For example,
Try to claim that I was a Nazi because of some random hand gesture at a rally where all I said was that my heart goes out to you, and I was talking about space travel. And yet the legacy media promoted that as though that was a deliberate Nazi gesture, when in fact every politician, any public speaker who's spoken for any length of time has made the exact same gesture.
hey dipshit, we know the difference between a wave and a fucking Nazi salute. And you do too, hence why people like your mom only share still images of politicians supposedly sig heiling, because if you watch the videos, it'd be clear that they're waving, not sig heiling. But that's not the only thing that you've lied about, Elon, because you're a compulsive liar and we all know it. You also boasted about being one of the highest ranked players in the world in Path of Exile 2 and Diablo, only to get caught paying people to boost your accounts, and then you lied about it, but finally admitted that you were indeed paying people to boost your accounts because it became too pathetic even for you to defend, because at that point, everybody knew you weren't the elite gamer that you wanted us to think you were. You're also petty, vindictive, morally bankrupt. You think you're the main character. You're the richest man in the world, yet you portray yourself as a victim. You think that you're intelligent, but you're wrong about virtually everything. By the way, I forgot what number we're on. I lost count at this point, but I can keep going. Trust me, I have so many more. In every conceivable way, this man is fucking insufferable. Even his own father doesn't like him. There's a reason why his daughter thinks that he's a charlatan too, and has publicly called him the fraud that he is. It's because Elon Musk is objectively detestable. So I hope that this has been informative for Elon Musk, assuming he's watching. There's a lot more where that came from, so give me a call, but if you need some more insults. But I want to get back to that interview, because it goes off the rails even further when the interviewer brings up how he's using his proximity to Trump to get a sweetheart deal in South Africa for Starlink. Now, this comes after he has accused the South African government of being racist towards whites because the government has laws in place to help white and black South Africans reach parity, which is kind of important since whites are a small minority in South Africa, yet they own the lion's share of property and businesses. You know, because this is a post-apartheid state. This was brought up, and in the interview, he genuinely starts to crash out during this portion of it. And it gets worse when the interviewer points out how DOGE has been a complete failure even by his own standards. Like, this is insane to watch. Like, this is a 50-plus-year-old man crashing out like this, but just watch.
Let's think about Starlink. Starlink is obviously a very, very good internet service. It's sought after all over the world. It's critical to the front line in Ukraine. It has also had more contracts coming its way, and there is some evidence that companies are allowing access to it because they want to be close to the Trump administration and send the right signal. So Bloomberg broke news today that the South African government is working around the rules on black ownership in order to allow Starlink in, and that is being done on the eve of the visit that President Ramaphosa is going to make to the White House. Do you recognize that as a conflict of interest?
No, of course not. First of all, you should be questioning why are there racist laws in South Africa? That's the first problem. That's what you should be attacking. There are now 140 laws in South Africa that give that basically give strong preference to if you're a black South African and not otherwise. And so now I'm in this absurd situation where I was born in South Africa but cannot get a license to operate in Starlink because I'm not black.
Well, it looks like that's about looks like that right to you? Looks like that's about to change.
I just asked you a question. Please answer. Does that seem right to you?
Well, those rules were designed to bring
yes or no?
those rules were designed to bring about an era of more economic equality in South Africa, and it looks like the government has found a way around those rules for you.
Ask you a question.
This is your interview. Everyone wants to hear from you.
Ask you a question. Yes or no?
I want to ask you about the total amount that you're planning to save through DOGE's work. Before the election, you said it was going to be at least $2 trillion. The number currently on doge.gov is $170 billion. That's a big change. What happened to the $2 trillion?
Well, do you expect it to happen immediately?
You've talked about $4 billion a day being saved. The $4 billion a day, if DOGE is going to run till next July, is not going to get you to $2 trillion. But you still say it's your aim, so we'll take that as read.
There's what DOGE. I mean, I feel you're somewhat trapped in the NPC dialogue tree of a traditional journalist. So it's difficult when I'm conversing with someone who's trapped in the dialogue tree of a conventional journalist, because it's like talking to a computer.
Embarrassing. This man is a child. She's not the NPC repeating dialogue tree talking points, Elon. You are. The reason why she had to ask you the same question again and again and again and clarify repeatedly for you is either because you're too fucking stupid to comprehend the question she was asking you, or because you were pretending to not know what she was asking you so you didn't have to address the substance because it was too embarrassing for you. But I mean, this petulant behavior, it kind of proves my point and demonstrates why everybody hates him. And on a second note, this motherfucker has the audacity to call South African equity laws racist when he benefited from the apartheid system that oppresses black South Africans to this day. And needless to say, I think that he did okay despite growing up in a country that was racist against him for being white. Like, the audacity of him to say these things in public is just astounding to me. But again, he has no self-awareness. But the good news is that he's apparently going to step into the background, so we won't have to see his big, dumb fucking face as much, which I guess kind of proves that bullying works, right? I mean, don't get me wrong, bullying is bad, sure, but I think that society should allow itself to make some exceptions once in a while for people who are truly beyond the pale, and I think that Elon Musk, he fits that. But I don't think that it's enough for him to just be able to fade into obscurity, assuming he actually does do that, which I'm skeptical of, because again, this is the biggest attention whore in the world. So the prospect of people not paying attention to him is probably agonizing to him. But assuming he actually does fade into obscurity, which would be wonderful, we can't forget that this man committed actual crimes. He used DOGE to illegally access our sensitive data. He illegally gutted government agencies that were regulating his companies. That's fraud. That's corruption. He illegally cut off aid that's already killed people, and there's blood on his hands because of that. So there needs to be actual accountability. This man needs to be charged, tried, and either imprisoned or deported or both. See, you don't get to break laws with impunity because you led some made-up government agency and then just go away. It doesn't work that way. At least it shouldn't work that way. So if we ever have free and fair elections again and a Democrat takes back the White House, they better make his criminality a priority on day one. Because if you don't hold him accountable for his crimes, other billionaires are going to think it's okay for them to do what he did. And since he's already despised, I don't even think that Republicans would care that much if Democrats made an example out of this asshole. So regardless if he fucks off or not, Democrats better not forget about this man's crimes.
When you acting like a baby.